So insert,
I think that pathfinding would probably be dwarven and is goat.
So either.
Should be working now.
Oh, wonderful. Hopefully we have audio. We do. I have confirmation. Let's go. Either someone pathfinding on the way from Kairamaras to Riathil, or a link test of everyone pitching in something.
Oh, okay. I jumped a little quick there, didn't I?
Link tests are always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't really have any skills that are applicable for like pathfinding or anything like that.
Let me have a look.
It's orienteering, I believe, in this.
Orienteering. Yeah, orienteering would be like a direct thing, but in a link test, like it doesn't need to be all about one thing. Everyone contributes something to.
I mean, I'm interested in learning orienteering, so I wouldn't mind, giving it a shot.
Yeah, you can give that a shot. And I was thinking like an easy thing for Ishmael would be to just like, I don't know, fight, like because there might be scouts around, so
some of those
with that.
hulking monstrosities, probably.
Let's see.
Well, I do have a fairly respectable sword skill.
Yeah, I was thinking like security for the trip.
And I'll handle the orienteering. That's fine. Me and the dwarves can be the vanguard.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm happy to throw my sword skill into a link test.
Yeah. How about the king?
Oh, the king's got skills for days.
Mm-hmm. Will he use them?
Are any of them relevant, Your Majesty? Maybe there's some sort of astronomical signs that could help guide us.
Could I use astrology in this instance to like navigate via the stars?
You could make a. Let's see what
auspicious omens about our journey.
What the skill says.
Or would that be more like?
I think it's entirely possible. I'm just gonna look it up here. So, you could name the stars and constellation, constructing a horoscope, determining the auspices of beginning an enterprise, calling upon the stars to answer a question. Yeah. Yeah. So in which order are these going to be rolled in?
Oh, please let me consult the stars for advice first.
That would seem to be the logical way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what logical people do.
Now, I just really hope the difficulty is either 1 or 2.
It is not. for any of the things that we wanted to do here.
Okay, because
so I think it's up to you. You can pick from determining the auspices of beginning an enterprise or calling upon the stars to answer a question. Basically divining like weal or woe, or then like specific intent.
I think we're going to come to a point where we have like multiple paths we can go down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to consult the cosmos,
Mm-hmm.
which path I should take in this instance.
To answer a question, then.
Because I don't trust myself, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're throwing yourself to fate now.
Because I am a mechanism designed by a mad spirit. Synergy of light and dark, and a little bit of jazz. So,
yeah, quit Zaz. So that would be an obstacle 4 then.
Oh, okay. Well, can I put anything in there?
Unfortunately, you can't fork the skill into itself.
No, I can't.
That would crash the game.
Okay, well, hold on to your butts, guys, because this is not going to go well. Yeah. I don't have any forks or advantages. I don't have. No.
You do have a deeds point.
I will. I'm going to put 2 Arthur in it just to even it out, just to give me a straight shot. You never know. Okay, base obstacle 4. This is how you do it, guys. Is there a 6? No, there's not a 6. Well, okay, fate has decided.
The stars have given their advice And I think the order then, like, it would make sense for me that the orienteering is next.
Yeah. So I'm up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
So,
this way. It's this way.
so I'm thinking
Stars have spoken. So
like familiar land at night would be the thing that we're rolling here. So
Yeah,
2.
sounds about right. All right. So I need to
Sorry,
beat 4 then, basically.
3 now.
So a
because-
6. Okay.
Because it's only 5 for you because it's a modifier that we're adding on. So it doubles the 2 into a 4, and then we add on 1 extra. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so 5 is the ultimate thing. But you can put in. Let's see, actually, how does it work on the sheet there?
I would put it in as like a. I don't think you
So,
can put it in.
Let's see, skills being learned, something. When you roll, help advantages. Yeah, so it has the base ob, put 2 in there, and after that it asks additional, put 1 in that. And
Okay.
then it should end up
Got
with
it.
5.
Got it. So that's 2, and then just put 1, right?
In the base, put 2, and then additional, put 1.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, are you hurt as well?
Am I? Oh no, we would have resolved that from last time, wouldn't we?
'Cause you
Hold on, did I never take it off? I never took it off my.
It's there. Yeah.
Okay,
but-
well, it doesn't really
so-
matter.
no.
But I'm
3
let me
1s as
remove
well.
that.
We're starting off great.
Yeah, we
are. So Ishmael, you are being harried by scouts and skirmishers as this goes on.
Okay.
And let's put it at an obstacle 3, which turns into a 4 now because we've had such great success
Okay.
on this journey.
Spend a persona on that. Give me an extra dice. And I'm going to roll my sword. And you said it was obstacle 4.
Yeah.
I will spend a fate point to reroll that 6.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So, nothing too dramatic as far as the journey itself goes. However, you do note that when you were fighting off a group of scouts, outriders, that kind of thing, they in turn were accompanied by high up in the sky, what must be, judging from the distance and maybe even the shadows if you manage to spot those, massive birds. So giant hunting birds. And while you dispatch the scouts, the hunting birds are making for Riathil. And you know that, well, you speculate, I suppose. You would speculate that they will carry the word to the siege that there's a force coming from this way. So yeah, no problems with your travel. However, the siege probably knows to expect you. Ishmael.
If it is at all possible, and obviously tell me if it's not, I would like to, obviously having realised what the birds are, I would like to gather the faithful. And I would like to lead them in a prayer that the secret flame would help prevent these feathery messengers of the enemy from reaching their destination.
What are we looking at here? Are we looking at faith?
Yeah. I'm basically looking for some variants of like the hindrance, like prayer, you know, when you pray from the enemy.
Yeah. Not quite enough for that. I think basically at this point, like it would have to be a major miracle to basically like stop them.
That's fine. I'll
going.
It would just be standard prayers then, not any miraculous prayers, because I want to save the old miracle juice for later on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're free to, of course, put in the metaphysical effort towards gathering the goodwill of the Secret Fire.
So are we all aware that basically these scout birds are...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know this.
So I would approach the good king and his war master, because he's the one technically leading the troops as they are.
Yeah, he's sort of the like if there's a battle, he can make a plan, but he's not the sort of like he's not the tactical guy. He's the war master. He's not the battle master.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I would probably go to the king and after this scouting raid, and I would offer the services of our illustrious dwarven company, because that's all I was able to obtain, in kind of maybe progressing forward, like ahead of the rest of the group, make sure we don't get ambushed, perhaps, that sort of thing would be my suggestion, strategically. Because we don't have cavalry, as far as I'm aware, other than a few lords on horseback. So a bunch of dwarves running is probably going to be the best you got. So, or on their goats,
If my war master concurs, then that is a fine idea.
Sure. Having a scouting element is a fantastic idea.
All
when you're
right.
moving around.
And so, just as a quick question, this is my first time leading men into battle properly. I mean, bar fights, sure, a couple of skirmishes on the rivers, of course, but yeah. So if I do encounter the enemy, as it is, what would a preferred course of action be at that stage? I mean, if I see an entire legion coming towards us, then do we tuck tail and run? Do you want us to kind of because us dwarves, we're good at putting together things in a hurry, so we could probably put together a little fortification, maybe try to delay any forces coming our way. I'm not offering us up as sacrificial lamb, but I'm just saying strategically,
it's imperative to get word back to the main convoy. So
of course, yeah.
Whatever happens, that's going to be up to you and everyone else there. If you determine that there would be value in putting up basically pitfalls, roadblocks, that sort of thing, sure. But
all right.
The important bit is when you get info, bring it back.
Yeah, don't worry about that part. We have a very good postal service in Allentine, so we know how to get word back and forth quick. Besides, the dwarves with me are extremely experienced. Thorkstormers are some of the best that Allentine has to offer. So, although I only have a few, they will be worth hundreds of you manlings. So I'm going to go rouse us to action. Best to leave now, and then before the word gets out that we're on the way.
So I think with that on we go, unless the king makes a different call now that we've seen these birdos.
In this instance, I trust my advisors. This is a time to trust in the people you brought with you.
Delegate.
Yeah.
Right. Well, with that, we proceed, and on you go. The convoy goes on through
with
various
the dwarves
tribulations.
Now ahead, essentially.
And you you end up very close to Riathil, and you see the numerous fires of not only the siege but the encampments around the city itself. And well, our Dwarven contingent at the front, you have very quickly spotted, as you are the spearhead here, you have spotted that, yeah, they sure as shit expect someone to come from this side because they've put up some siege works pointing this way. So they've got some, not really like full-on walls, but barricades built facing all the sort of obvious routes.
Yeah.
The roads are blocked.
Very Roman of them, in other words. Yeah.
they know that someone's sneaking around behind their back, so they're looking your way.
So I would turn to the old graybeard who kind of confided in me and spoke to me in the last, when we rallied these dwarves to the cause. I'm kind of relying on him a little bit, I'd say, because he's the only one that seemed to sort of know what he was about, kind of a thing, beyond yeah. So I would turn to him, and I would, because I'm assuming we're like sort of, we see this from a distance kind of a thing. We're approaching it because we're a little bit ahead of the main force. So I would turn to him and say, I'm not an expert in siege works, but the manlings don't do a very good job of it, I don't think. I mean, it's an impediment and all, but I mean, we would have done much better, right? Like,
well, I think at this point, what matters is that they have the numbers.
Yeah, I noticed that. A lot of campfires out here. Well, I defer to you and your brothers in terms of experience, but my understanding would be that we would want to perhaps make some counter trenches and fortifications so that they can't just, wash over us, then run back to behind their makeshift little walls and do it again the next time, and so forth, so on, till we're all dead, I think, right?
So is the plan here to stay out here and fight them in the field here?
Well, I think our king has other plans, but I think
that's something that we don't really have the numbers for. Yeah, we can put up a fight for a bit, but
no, I understand. I think that's the distraction. Yeah, I think we are just here to get word back to the main column, make sure that the bad guys know that we're here, and they can't sneak up on us, just like we can't sneak up on them. And then
you mean have people here while we get word back?
Oh, absolutely. Your fastest boy got to go and get word back to the main column.
We don't need. We'll stay put. We have. If they haven't seen us yet, that's fine. If they have, that's fine too. They have their siege works. They have the incentive to stay there. They haven't come here so far, so we'll send word back now. And
yeah,
well,
so
if this is gonna, how do you think this is gonna play out? Because I think the only thing we have here is we can make a hole for a bit, and it won't be too long until that hole closes, and then we need to have done whatever we wanted to do, whether that's getting into the city, which I guess is the point.
I think the king has designs inside the walls. This is his city. He's from here originally, so he has friends and allies that he wants to rally. Perhaps
they're not rallied yet, being sieged.
Well, they're not doing a very good job of it if they are. I mean, again, no expert in warfare, but these manlings don't look like they do a good job of it. But anyhow, I think the notion, although the king has not fully confided me in his war master's complete picture, mostly because it's still forming, I believe. I think the notion most likely would be to, from within and out, an attempt to push back the invaders that way. But I do believe that is going to mean the king needs to get into the city, and I think he's going to need to know about our situation to determine the best course of action. So, yes, you send your runner, and then we need to prepare for a party, I think.
Yeah. And then sometime later, the rest of the column is around. We are reunited. The king has the info, and so does everyone else. So there's siege works besieging the city. However, they have set like a rear guard action going on here.
How do you wish us to approach the siege, my king?
Do you believe, this is Dr. Davin, do you believe we could go around them, or would that expose our flank? Is it too big of a...
Unfortunately, my kingliness and my more experienced dwarven compatriots agree, we simply just don't have the numbers to do anything too fancy. Not with mundane means, at least. I had a notion of perhaps causing a distraction with me and my dwarven friends, but I do not believe that our forces can match them at this time. So we'd be better served by either some grandiose display of magical might, which would do a lot, by the way, to ensure the continued loyalty of said dwarves. But yeah, so I believe there's a term called sapping when it comes to sieging. I've read about it in a book once. I do believe the Thorksturmers have experience in like tunneling and like, coming out behind walls and going to town. So I can consult the guys and make sure that they think that's a viable thing, but it'd be dicey for us, but
that would take some time, though.
Well, unless you're gonna like wizard us all into the city, my liege, it's a siege. Time is what we have. Ishmael, though, you've fought more wars than I have. What do you think of the notion of our sort of dwarven commando sneaking under the ground like us dwarves do and popping up and going, like pale ones from the old stories,
It seems sound in principle, Davron. However, I would question how long it is going to take for this tunneling. Since obviously we do not know what state the besieged defenders of Riathil are in.
I mean, we dig very fast. We're dwarves. I mean, we live on the surface now, sure, but that doesn't mean we forgot how to use a pick and a shovel. But I would have to consult the men to get a firmer estimate. My liege, if you would like, if this is a course of action that interests you, I will consult my men. I haven't said that in a long time, and that was last time I was on a boat, not in the field of battle.
Davron, how close did your group get to the siege weapons?
As close as we would have liked. I didn't rate them too well. You manlings don't really know how to build very well. But
what are they made out of?
Wheelmaster, I believe they were probably wood.
Yeah, it's wood.
It's all wooden palisades. And, yeah, right. Yeah, it's just wood. I mean,
given your own expertise with missile weapons, and I assume your fellows are equally as expert, I would suggest perhaps attempting to dispatch the siege weapons using arrows and the natural enemy of wood, fire.
Well, if the kingliness here would like to bring the flames, then that's. I mean, if he punches a hole through the walls, then we could just charge right in, and that would be a big distraction in of itself. I mean, we could probably definitely put up a little fight for them.
That's what I'm thinking. If we set the siege weapons aflame, in the chaos that causes, it may buy us the time we need to get into the city whilst the enemy is.
Although I have a question. Are you attempting to get your entire caravan through at this? Because I think both me and my guys would agree that sounds a bit fanciful. Like, I mean, they have a lot of guys. Like, I don't know if you saw the campfires out there, but
are we talking thousands, tens of thousands?
Well, I would imagine. I mean, I didn't get quite a count.
Several thousands at least.
At this point, Johannes, I'd like to ask whether I could make use of my campaign wise.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Actual skills, my man.
Yeah. What are we doing?
And
are you establishing information or asking me?
Depends on sort of how it goes, really. But basically, what I'm looking to do is this: is obviously, as we know, I've been involved in at least one massive siege when it came to the Holy City. So I'm assuming I've seen siege weapons before. I've presumably fought against them before, because siege of the Holy City. So what I'm going to be trying to do is I'm going to be trying to think back to the tactics we used against the siege weapons in the Holy City, trying to think if there's any of those that might be suitable for this sort of situation. So I've got it out of character. I don't know a massive amount about siege weapons, but I'm trying to think how did we sort of deal with them in the siege of the Holy City, and could we adapt any of that to help deal with these here? Because I'm hoping that if we sort of take down the siege weapons and we're like, there are more troops here, then we can essentially get reinforcements from Riathil, whereas at the moment they're just sort of holed up. So if we can sort of give them a bit of breathing space so they can sort of break out and join us, we'll stand a much better chance of throwing back.
You could send a messenger via bird. I've got.
Or spirit.
If you.
Yeah, but an albatross is so much cooler.
if you're able to do that, my liege. Also, I'm not entirely sure how much danger I'm personally in from the siege weapons, given the spiritual blessing that I currently possess.
Never tested you against a siege weapon. I would not like to lose you into such a mechanical device.
Indeed, but if you wish to send a message, my liege, of course, please do that. Let them know that help is on the way. Let me think for a few moments to see if I can think of any other ways we might get past these siege weapons. It's been a long time since I faced such things in battle.
Is there any alternative ways into the city we don't know about?
Well, you would know better stuff than all of us, wouldn't you?
That is the picture perfect setup, Matthew, for a roll. That question that you just asked.
Yeah. Would I need Riathil wise though to do that? Is that going to be the thing?
That is a brilliant skill for this.
So yeah, am I right to make a campaign wise roll?
Oh boy.
I don't think you need to even roll for it, really. So it's really only a couple of points. Siege weapons, such as they are in our day and age, are kind of easy to destroy in that, well, they're very immobile and also flammable, as you already noted. And one of the good ways of dealing with them is using some of your own on them. And the other good bit is if you can get behind them with anything, really. But cavalry is the number one deal. Like, if you just outflank them, charge them, they're gone.
But currently they're behind the battle. They're behind the battlements, correct?
And the thing is, I want to establish this here. So they're not really threatening you with
they're
trebuchets and whatnot. They're hammering the city itself. So what you would be looking at surmounting is walls, pits of stakes, that sort of thing, pikemen, archers. That's
why I suggested the sapping, going under.
But you can, if you can get close enough with infantry or cavalry, you can take out the actual siege engines very quickly. There's a number of them, but they're quite easy to destroy once you're nearby if you have free reign, because it's just a couple of folks operating a fairly sophisticated engine, and it's easy
made
to
out
disrupt.
of wood and stone, so it's not like
well, if we wish, if the if the rest of our forces can distract their foot troops, I could ride with the nobles and the mounted troops to dispatch the siege engines.
All great options.
Can I just like poke my head out of the I'm assuming we're in a tent of some description or whatnot, and just quickly ask essentially my dwarven lieutenant, who we really need to give a name at this stage, I think. But I just want to ask him roughly how long he would think it would take the 50 or so of us to dig under and pop out and cause havoc, essentially, behind the walls.
Some hours, depending on how far away you start.
So we're talking hours, not days, though, right?
Yeah. Depending. Like.
Yeah, right. Like if we come into like contact with anything deep below, or the enemy tries to stop us. Yeah, I get it.
I think the big problem there is like, in order to be safe, you want to go deeper, and that takes more time.
Yeah.
So it's riskier, but you can do it relatively, quickly, given tools and whatnot. But also, if you don't go too deep, it can quite easily collapse, and because it's you want to go somewhat deep so that the structural integrity, actually makes a roof.
Yeah, I understand.
So.
Trying to give our king we're coming up with a strategy right now. The idea is to either breach the walls or go under the walls or around the walls. We want to destroy the siege engines before we then charge into the city. That's the notion at the moment. So what do you think would be the best use of us? And I'm saying like us as the dwarves, essentially.
Right. Yeah. Give. Yeah. I want you to dig your tunnel. I'll create a distraction.
So the plan then being, there's a tunnel, and you're creating a distraction. After which, people pop out of the tunnel to do what? Are we going for the city? Are we?
I think we're going for the siege works, right? Then in that scenario, is that the idea? And then basically,
the idea is to take out the siege engines so we could then get to the city.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful because now we have, everything lined up here. So. I think the dwarves are gonna roll first for the little.
Can I assist them in any way, considering I'm leading them and technically?
Yeah, we'll toss in an extra die for your oversight there. As soon as I can find my sheet, here we go. So I don't remember. There's probably a skill for it, but I'll just call it sapping for now.
I couldn't find a sapper skill per se, but I might have been looking in the wrong place.
So let's just call it that. For the moment, they're not really sappers, so that's they're not a siege warfare unit. they're mercenaries, all about the axe in the skull action. So they're going to do that. We're adding 1 for your assist there. We're just seeing how well they do, how quickly they do. Right. So, yeah, I want to say it takes like 10 hours to have some kind of rinky-dink fucking dangerous ass surface tunnel working. And the king then, you've got the route. It's let's actually roll. I'm gonna roll just high low. if it is night or not. So low, it's night, and high, it's not. No, it's in fact goddamn midday when this is going on.
Brilliant.
Well, that's when you get the tunnel ready. But what do you do? You can see these giant birds, by the way, flying in the sky.
I'm gonna try and get a bird to come and take a message to the the city. You know it. I love it.
Man,
Send it.
because you don't have a summon bird skill. This is always the thing. Like, you're in a city, you can find pigeons, no problem. How do you? What's the skill for finding birds?
Oh, I thought you said there was birds there. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there are. These birds you cannot reach, and let's just throw it out there because you are contemplating this, and you do realize that you've read about this stuff. It doesn't make you feel any better, but these birds, because you look at them for long enough that you realize there's a little bit more going on there than just birds, and you do realize they have ornaments, and some of those things aren't feathers, they're kind of like wrappings.
Wait, these are intelligent. These are like signs of culture.
Think the great eagles from Lord of the Rings.
I'm not going to get my own eagles. Oh, we go full Tolkien. Yes.
Well, think great eagles.
I'm guessing these are the enemy's eagles.
Yes, because you also realize that. Oh, yeah. I can see the signs of like culture and whatnot, and these are like wrappings. So these must be I'll put this in the chat because it is a word. These are the Quailsark, the burial birds of the coastal regions where the sort of great sea eagles live and have lived for a very long time, in sort of common area with the coastal princedoms, and they tend to get buried with people in the coast.
And they're working for the Flame King.
These are burial, mummified great eagles.
They're undead great eagles.
Undead great eagles from the coast.
Dude, your imagination sometimes. Okay.
But you recognize what they are. You know their name is the Quailsark, the burial birds of the coast. But they don't it doesn't work. They're laid to rest when their human friends die or they die. They are laid to rest with their whoever they were associated with, in the same tombs as people on the coast do. But it's probably the Crown of Flame has breathed fire back into these old bones now, and now you have a sky full of skeletal raptors. So that's why it doesn't make you feel any better that you realize what these are.
Oh no.
So you think probably your magic may not reach these, even if you could.
Okay.
Unless he uses the crown.
No.
I mean, there's always a crown.
I'll tell you where you might find a bird. Obviously, there's going to be people who've died during the initial sort of siege. There's probably going to be carrion birds, like crows and stuff like that.
That is brilliant. Absolutely.
So maybe you can summon one of them.
Thank you for giving me an out to my otherwise dangerous idea.
That's what I'm here for, my liege.
Praise the flame.
Praise the flame. Okay. I will attempt to find a carrion bird.
Yeah, you can find crows.
Yes.
That's a very good point. I was so fixated on my undead corpse birds that I had neglected
Thanks,
the actual
guys.
corpse birds that are here.
I had a buffet of options. I did not want to use any of them.
Mm-hmm. So you can find, crows, no problem.
Yeah.
So you want to talk to a bird?
Yes, please.
You want to tweet?
I you know me. I love using my spells. Okay.
Great. Let's talk. Let's talk to a bird.
No speech time. You know it. Back.
Yeah, the king of Twitter.
King of birds. Obstacle 4, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're smart.
Okay, so I'm just gonna give this a shot. It's difficulty 4. Do I get any bonuses for this? No.
Well, let's look at the thing which I have here that I'm always struggling to find. Where is the? Did I collapse this? No. Oh, here we go. No. Where did I put it? Here's the fork. Here's the fork. So astrology, astronomy, alchemy, aura reading, Imperialia, demonology are your forks.
I'm probably gonna.
I like to think that it's like everyone's watching the king. He's like, oh yeah, the king has this magic way, like probably learned from the elves, like talking to animals, and then he forks in demonology. It's like, it's like,
yeah,
wait.
It's kind of I call to you in the name of the Dark One.
I'm gonna fucking yeah.
The bird is like, dude, come on, man.
Demonology and alchemy.
Yeah, those seem like great things to do.
Okay. I'm drinking the glacial clear water, which helps for bird speech. It's a thing. It's a thing, guys. I'm not going to use any persona because things are about to get choppy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, base obstacle 4. Come on. Yes.
Look at the king.
Look at the king.
Like a bounce.
Finally, a roll succeeded tonight.
All right. So,
ding dong.
What do you talk about with this crow that has a bloody beak?
I tell him that I want to help feed his friends and himself get full bellies of these abominations that have littered this battlefield. But I need help to achieve this aim. I want him to bring word to a certain individual within the walls of Riathil.
Mm-hmm.
A message that must reach him. He must avoid the undead eagles, which I didn't know existed until this very moment. The hordes of the undead. You will be warded in food. And then witnessing a great clash of men, dwarf, and flame. With a little side order of Paladin.
What's the you always bribe them with food, which is very good because that's what animals are about.
That's what they want.
What's the message then?
It's to Lord Beric I'm sending this to. That I have heeded his call for help. King Cameron, first of his name. I'm just adding all the titles in now. I'm coming to his aid, and I need them to open the gates, let us in at the signal. And I tell him that the signal is going to be a flame seen across the entire city.
Mm-hmm. And just to establish it, this is a thing that you write down and attach to the leg, maybe?
Yep. Yeah. I write a parchment, yeah.
Yep. So, good.
Kiss, love, Cameron.
Yeah, XOXO.
Yeah.
Smiley faces. Off the bird goes. And how do we proceed, King?
I have to give a little bit of time, so I make sure that my men are fed, ready for action. And I discuss my plan.
You're not filling me with confidence, King, when you're like, oh, I'm going to discuss my plan.
No, I just have to say it out loud now. My thoughts. I need to send a message. I need them to understand that I ain't fucking around.
There's the crown, after all.
Yeah. So my intention is to, using the crown, bolster one of my spells in a fashion that I will draw the flame in the area, this fell flame, from the torches, from the burning buildings, from the half-destroyed siege engines around the city.
Campfires.
The campfires, yeah. Essentially, just draw it all into a sigil of the true flame that we are bringing to bear, like a stamp that's going to explode upon the land for everyone in the city to see, and it is going to bathe in a holy light. Not this imitation that they've seen up until now.
My first suggestion, my liege, if it's going to explode on the land, perhaps the sigil should be positioned somewhere where the enemy are located.
That's exactly my point. It's to cause confusion and chaos, but to clearly say I am here and I'm here to stay. Then at that point, I want Darwin and his dwarves to fuck up those siege engines, thereby giving a path clear for us to bring our forces through into the city.
To make sure that I get it right, so we're making a giant secret flame sigil out of all the fire available to us, make it explode on the enemy, at which point saboteurs will try and disable the siege engines while everyone else hoofs it to the gate of the Riathil.
And then we ride for Riathil and ruin.
Yep. Yeah, we at least one of those will happen.
I don't know whether this will have any game effect, but I will, as my liege is detailing this plan and he's performing his no doubt wondrous sorcerous workings, I will gather the chosen of the sacred flame, the ones who are marked, along with myself. And since it's a sigil of the sacred flame, I'm an apostle of the secret fire, I'll gather them together in sort of like prayers for like the sacred flame to like assist with this.
There is a specific effect for that. You can definitely do that while the king. I imagine the mental image that I got when you're like, oh well, I'm going to gather all the fire in the land, is Saruman on top of the tower, like talking to the wind.
So if it's possible, I'd like to gather all my like prayer circle and pray for a blessing to effectively like give the king a 1 dice boost to whatever sorcery roll he's making to do this.
That is exactly what I was going to suggest, but I can't find the thing in the book.
It's page 524.
The intention of the thing is more confusion than outright just annihilation. Don't know if that affects.
We'll
always go for the annihilation, my king.
Because some of these people, a lot of them are just enslaved by this my ancestor. It's
a hard lesson, my liege. But in war, there are your allies and there are the enemies. There is no room in warfare for
ambiguity.
Mercy.
Ambiguity.
Yeah, but I grab him by the shoulder. Yeah, but we're here to fan the flames of hope and not despair.
Mercy is for after the battle is finished, my lord.
And after we've broken this Flame King's power over the poor unfortunates that we're going to now slaughter as we go into the city.
This tunnel you're building as well, is it only suitable for dwarves?
I would suggest let us do the tunnel. It's going to be dangerous enough without you manlings trying to like come the earth and stone.
My war master here, he chafes at the leash. He wants to get off immediately.
I mean, if he's willing to possibly get buried under the ground,
he's like, just let me out. Come on.
Yeah, well, if he wants to possibly get buried in the ground, he's welcome to come along.
Well, I would suggest to my liege that once the sigil has exploded, if sufficient damage is caused, that then would be an optimal time to let the War Master and some of the mounted troops ride in and dispatch the allies, the enemies that are thrown into disarray by your magnificent sorcery and the blessings of the secret fire.
Goes. But I'm waiting for this is going to be difficulty 32.
I like to imagine as I'm like talking to the king about this, I'm like, oh yeah, with the blessings of the secret fire, I've got like a group of like people behind me and we've all got like fire eyes because we're all like touched by the flames.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
very intense
the
nowadays.
Secret flame.
For the greater good.
The greater good.
So I think what we're doing is order of business is first the king, then we do like a roll for the dwarves and the siege engines, and then basically everyone else is trying to smash through what remains and poof it to the gate.
I'm assuming I'll need to make the faith roll before the king's roll because I'm boosting his roll.
Yeah.
Cool.
Gonna have
Yes.
I'm gonna drop a persona point on my faith roll. Why not?
Yeah, and you're being assisted by
as many people with faith as I can get.
Yeah, you'll get an extra from Athelstan.
Sweet. Okay, so it's obstacle 3 if it's a standard blessing, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got a help dice. I've got an Arthur dice. Obstacle 3. 4 successes. Praise the secret flame.
Mm-hmm. So, what is the king trying to do? What's the?
So I'm going to use that spell that I've been learning. That is essentially I saw its potential against that force of literal darkness. Like so. This is time to bring it back out again, and I've been perfecting it in battle. And this is the time. There's nothing in the spell description that says I have to use one source of fire. Just there has to be a source. So I'm just.
And I like to think.
Well, if you're using the crown, that sort of then.
Yeah, that is the thing. Like you can. An obstacle 2 spell isn't going to explode an entire battlefield, but you have the crown. You could make it do that.
That's essentially what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to make the sigil burn.
So, I like to think.
I want I don't know where the king is, but I want him to see it. I want him to know that this is not just a noble he's fighting now. This is not just some brigands and farmers. This is something else.
So I like to think as our liege, the Sun King, is casting his spell, all of the sort of inner circle of the secret flame, we've all gathered round him. We've all got like a hand on like his shoulder or whatever. We're all doing our prayers. We've all got our fire eyes on, and sort of like he feels like warmth like flow into him as we're sort of like channeling.
I don't know how the obstacle is going to work out because I haven't finished doing the practicing, so I still have to. I'm still working my way through that.
Yeah, so just do the regular casting.
Right.
So
I've done it 4 times, and I think it's difficulty 7 to begin with, isn't it? It was something like that.
Let me get that for you.
Just to remind me, because I've been tracking each time I've cast it. I've increased a counter,
which is good.
And the last time I cast it was pretty good.
Yeah, the last time it kind of spiraled out of control.
I'm not going to get to explore darkness again.
I explode the darkness.
I explode the darkness.
Okay, so it is. What's your perception?
My perception is
2020.
It's 5 perception for.
Okay, and
I think it was like 7. I think it was 7 or 8.
Yeah, it was 7 because it's 2, and you add on 5. So as many times as you cast it, you reduce that number.
Difficulty 3.
You're almost there.
And the secret flame has seen fit to bless you with the bounty of an extra dice, my liege.
So what is John's
dice? What does John's help give me exactly?
1 die. Extra die.
Oh boy. Okay. So here we go, boys. Here we go.
Might
We're
I
being
suggest,
blessed
might
by
I
the-
suggest Persona as well, Melish?
How the hell do I roll this thing? How did I do it last time? How did I roll it last time?
I think we just rolled a standard ass, like just write it down, I think.
Oh, it's I just roll sorcery, don't I? Yeah, and yeah. So I'm gonna
sorcery.
I'm gonna fork in Emprilia because I know this is coming. This flame,
Mhm.
what I'm harking to, comes from this place of purity. This notion of a kindling flame, a nurturing flame.
Mhm.
This is not the fell thing. This pale shadow. Which
It's a secret flame.
Sacred flame.
At the heart of the world.
This is the real shit, Racewood. Watch this.
Mhm.
Watch this.
Tell you what, you best not mess with your roll after you're bigging it up like this. If you like
Well,
watch this Wraithwin and it's like,
Honestly.
Can I use alchemy as well in this instance? Where justification is some of the flames from the city are these really powerful braziers of just like
and
strong flame.
it's not even just the braziers. Like there's a lot of, and we don't necessarily have too much info on that. We haven't delved into that too much, but there's a lot of alchemical warfare that is being practiced by both Riathilans and the Dulce Riath folk. All the way in the beginning, we saw, Rathawin. Now we know that it was Rathawin doing these, basically making the fire coating for weapons and the fire bombs and all that stuff. All that stuff is alchemical. So, yeah.
Right, so that's 3 bonus at the moment. Oh boy. I'm going to put in a persona. I haven't got many left at the moment. So I'm going to put in 1. Difficulty is 3. Oh boy. Don't fuck me now. Here we go. Oh, I'm going to spend a fate point. I ain't done yet. I'm going to spend that fate point because that might be just the extra jazz I need.
Still 4 ones.
Yeah. I got an extra success there.
Yeah, you sure did. So what basically you pick the closest torch that you can see in the distance, or the fire, like a campfire, and you call it up to do your will, and you know that this is not enough. This sorcery is not enough to do what you need it to do. So as you have started to call upon the fires hereabouts, what do? You know that you could maybe do something with the crown?
Yeah, so I think upon the teachings that I've had with the poet and things that me and John have spoken about, and I've seen him, the image of the flame that I saw that he conjured, and I sort of pick the crown up from its hiding place, and I sort of one-handed sort of flip it onto my, just focusing,
Backwards.
and I kind of point at Wraithwin as I'm doing this, and I just sort of gesture, watch. This is
watch this.
Watch this. And yeah, I think I concentrate really hard, and I think of the words, the meaning, the intention. This is a cleansing flame. That this will not only this damages the fell, corrupting force of this malignant, corrupting flame that's been born of ignorance and misunderstanding and a desperation to find this source, the real source that's been lost in time. And I wanted to blaze upon this battlefield, both as a sigil for hope for Riathil, but also as a warning to the king out there that the heir to his legacy and the future hopefully is going to burn brighter. And obviously, I want to get a gold star for my Foxfire daddy, who's probably pimping it up in a tower that in the city, just watching.
Yeah, you're pointing at Rathawin and saying, watch this, but what you really mean in your heart
in the
is,
heart.
please watch me.
Please,
Watch me, Foxfire Daddy,
please acknowledge my how far I've come.
Love me.
Why won't you love me? We'll
Why
deal
did
with
you
I hope,
those.
leave me?
I hope there was a gladiator reference just there, Johannes. That was great.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, there's people who will be entertained soon.
There's a slight addition is when this thing starts to form, it's not just visual, like this, like almost a melancholy, like a kind of melancholy rising to a kind of clear and crystal note, like a sound is being cast across the world, and that's drawing upon the poet, as if almost conjuring the actual real flame is also speaking it into the world, and that has a kind of resonance, just like making the moon bleed and casting out the darkness. This thing, like it's not just visual, it's not just taste. There is a kind of musical aspect to it. Drawing on my Tolkien knowledge there.
Yeah. And as you speak, so it shall be. And all the campfires, torches, just burning structures and engines. The alchemical fires still burning after days of being splashed somewhere. They all flare up and just like scourge the land as the king commands. And they form into this, I suppose you would have seen something to this effect, like the sigil at the poet's temple. The sigil that no doubt has been created because of the poet's gifts. You make the scourging fire form into the sigil, like I want to say like tens of meters into the air. And then I suppose explode and rain down. Is that the thing that Cameron went for?
It's not shock and awe. I'm not trying to not it's more like the image kind of like formulates in the air and then kind of crushes into, like just slams into the ground.
Right. So it like bombards one specific point when it comes down from the air. All right, so there's now a giant fire in and no torches and no campfires and no alchemical fires, but there is a giant blaze as the sigil sinks into the earth.
Okay,
and
so after the flame sigil like crashes down, assuming the enemy are like thrown into something of disarray by that, I'm going to order any sort of missile troops that we have, archers, crossbowmen, whatever, to basically like follow up that while they're all still in disarray, follow up with a volley of arrows to hopefully sow some more dissent and take some more of them out. And then obviously if the king agrees, like the war master and his guys can get romping in and sort of hopefully mop up some of the people while they're still recovering from this, and the rest of us can ride. The rest of us can ride for Riathil.
Yeah. And all of this is a advantage die for our dwarves here, as they're trying to knock out. It's not going to be like, oh, we killed all their machines, but you can.
Well, we're basically just punching a hole and causing damage along the way. So,
I'm going to make a roll for the dwarves, and you can assist with your.
I will assist,
stuff,
of course,
and we'll get an assist from the basically the flanking attack of you guys punching through to go to the city. So let me get a sheet here. So I think they're just gonna go with like axe. Like that's the primary delivery method here. Right, so they're gonna get 2 assists, one from you, one from people storming in from a different place. Now I'm gonna make this opposed by the army. It's a very good roll, and they're gonna oppose here's me playing the game by myself. Nope. So indeed, it's easy enough. Like if you get close enough to a trebuchet, it's not going to be like the guards for the trebuchet are like they are the pikemen like several hundreds of meters away from the thing. You're too close, so it's easy enough to hit them in the back, mop up the engineers working on them. It's kind of easy to short form sort of disable the engines, cut enough ropes, smash a couple of control mechanisms. It's good enough. Set some things on fire, though maybe it's like fire seems very dubious to these dwarves now, because if there's folks like the king on this battlefield and can just tell fire what to do, they don't really know if it's going to help if you set these on fire, but they do it anyway. And you make a good bunch of these engines basically to require a lot of upkeep to get back into operation, as the rest are punching through. Which I guess I'll do a similar thing. Well, not really. No. Everything's been good. So it is a big success. Your maneuver, your plan does work quite well. Ishmael, you're leading with the with whatever forces you have as the like the spear tip, because you need to punch through a couple of these checkpoints effectively on the road. That's fine enough. You are invulnerable to their weapons, so that's not a big problem for you. And yeah, your like lance is moving towards the gates. You send a bird to Mordred, the master of the tower, to open the gates once the sign has gone off, which it has now. The big fiery sign, that is. The dwarves have smashed these trebuchets and are presumably now heading towards where the lance is going. And it is now, while we are rushing towards these gates that are starting to open, that the king is extremely warmly welcome to roll on this table.
Do I need to roll on this table? Is this something?
Yes.
You corruption.
You just fill out your last requirement there in that scene for your next step. You got enough dots to go ahead.
Oh boy.
The next fun begins.
So, as I recall, last time you rolled. Did you roll on the primary?
I rolled alternative first, and then primary.
So you rolled on the primary. So now you're on the alternative again. So, so
I rolled the corruption as a skill, don't I? Do I just roll?
I think it's 2d6 plus your corruption. I will check.
See, this is what happens when you use the crown, guys. It's just.
It was actually the bird.
Yes.
The crown would have got you there, but it was the bird.
I told you all that laterite in it. Cause your problems one of these days.
Yes.
Let's see.
Brilliant.
So.
Brilliant. That's what I want.
Oh, you roll one die and add the result to your corruption exponent. That's how it is. So 1d6 plus 3 now, because you're at 3.
Okay. Right.
4.
Oh.
Dreamer. That is a pretty badass trait.
Mm.
I just started getting clues in my dreams now. Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm. You become a Call of Cthulhu character.
I mean, we've kind of been vibing between Tolkien and Cthulhu here for most of it anyway, haven't we?
So you can put your corruption at exponent 3 and add that dreamer to your die traits.
Brilliant. Corruption 3.
And you can wipe out all the dots on your corruption.
Yeah, guys, we need this game to wrap before I turn into a villain.
So you make it inside the gates.
Nitrates. Where's nitrates?
The enemy is scrambling behind you in the field. The commanders don't know what's going on. And everything went well. Your plan worked out really good. And you make it to the gates, which they opened slightly, and on the other side you are met with a troop of sort of halberd equipped chainmail clad troops who relax once you guys start coming in, because it's no longer the enemies that they are afraid of. So you come in, they close it, and you are met with several acolytes. Cameron, that they have the robes of the tower. They're clearly there on Mordra's orders. Mm-hmm. So you are let in. There's a lot of people who come to shake your hands and clap you on the shoulders as you guys come in as allies. What do you do? You are now within Riathil.
I would assume. Sorry, manager. I was going to say. I would assume that.
I give a little speech. I give a little one. I says I'm walking through. I'm the second person to attempt to breach your city with a crown, but I come not as a conqueror, but as a facilitator for our unification, for our gathering together to push back against the darkness that has encroached upon our lands for untold years now.
At which point I'm going to lead all the faithful in like a rousing cry of like, all hail the Sun King.
The dwarves will be chanting Restorer King, but similar effect.
It may be an uncomfortable thought that you have to bear for some time, but the flame from which you have been drawing your strength from contains a filament of this taint, and it has allowed this creature to encircle you in such a way. But I come with help. I was born, I grew up here, I studied here, I come as a friend, not as an enemy. Tell your friends, tell your leaders.
So I'm picking up a definite intent there. Mm-hmm. What would you like to roll to achieve it?
I essentially want to get them on my side. I want to kind of quell any kind of civil disruption immediately to my coming and transition to me being able to start actually helping people.
Yeah, I get it. You're a foreign conqueror. You come into the town. You tell them that
I'm doing the
they
whole
worship
Roman
the wrong
thing.
god, and you want them to be on your side.
We're all Romans. You just don't know it yet.
But what do you want to roll to convince them of this?
I've got persuasion.
I was waiting for you to be like,
brilliant.
I was waiting for you to be like, can I folk demonology into this?
If I say hail Satan, does that help?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna grab Ishmael by the wrist, and I'm sorry. I did not forget my promise. Make sure that the people do not have much. Beggars on the streets, the people in the orphanages, the men afflicted in such a way that you make sure that they are given some food or what we can spare.
I nod, and while he's then returns to his speech, I turn to the adherents of the Secret Flame, and I'll say, my brothers and sisters of the Flame, our king wishes that word of the flame and its bounty spread throughout this place, and that we show them the the true warmth that the embrace of the secret flame has to offer. Let us go forth and help these unfortunate people, and let us shepherd them into the light of the faith of the true flame. And then basically lead all the faithful off to help people out, and maybe get a bit of that proselytizing in as well, get a few converts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll attempt to persuade them of my intent. I don't know what the difficulty is going to be for this bad boy.
No, it's going to be 3. Just the baseline. Will.
Do I get a bonus because there's a massive burning sigil outside the city, which I've just put there?
Yeah. Because when people came in and you were like, "Hey, I'm here now," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, restore a king, restore a king." These guys were chanting, first flame, first flame, and the Sun King. So they're definitely on board with the fire. So you'll get one of that for sure.
Okay, one. I'm gonna put. Can I put etiquette in as well as a sort of like, this is me trying to address the nobility that I'm not like disrupting the power structure directly. I'm sort of kind of coming in. I'm here to work with you, not against you.
Well, do you have like what are you referring to? Your reputation?
I'm not here to displace the nobles from power. Like I'm saying, I'm here as to help, but not to conquer the city.
You're using your manners essentially to aid your persuasion.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what skill are we talking about?
So I'm persuading them, but I was going to fork in etiquette.
Etiquette, yeah, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's do.
Those kind of align really nicely.
Yeah, definitely. That's the
synergy.
synergy.
This obstacle.
Synergistics.
Come on, man. Oh, come on.
No 6s.
No 6s.
No
really?
6s for the king.
You should have spent persona on this, man.
I'm the tank's near the empty, man. I gotta be careful.
So
maybe
was there any way that Davern could have assisted in that? I'm sorry. I'm checking out mentally now because I'm tired. But obviously I have all kinds of persuasions, the Norris debate. I've come here with a dwarven company. We're chanting this guy as, the new king and all this other stuff. And he's, talking about bringing people together. He has dwarves with him. Can I give him a helping die and help him out? Sorry, I should have said this before the roll.
Yeah, Stentorius debate would have been the one, I think, from all these.
My magical dwarven power,
Matthew, you want to roll a magical time traveling D6?
Sorry about that, guys. I'm falling off now.
Oh yeah.
So,
Sweet son of a gun.
Saw for a brief second, you saw a future in which you were immediately branded a heretic as you entered the city that you came to save. But then, luckily, we're not there anymore. So
I just have it just let him go. Like, what he means to say is you just don't fully understand the aspect of the flame. There's
he's gonna show you the new flame, guys. New flame.
Yeah. So instead of that, it's more like, okay, so you as in Cameron, you're clearly mistaken, but we need everyone here, and you're ostensibly, you worship the flame. You just talk about it the wrong way, so that's fine. We're in a war. That doesn't matter.
We'll deal with religion later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll take that.
Well, you're good. You have the fire that is clearly on your side, and we like that. So, long live the king. And because we are getting a little bit tired, and unfortunately we didn't have a lot of time this evening here, but do we want to sort of wrap here? And
this feels like a good place. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm as evidenced by my inability to use helping die properly.
So with that, in the best tradition of the medium here, we have the cheer of, and it's midday. As I said, when we started. No, it was midday when we started digging, then 10 hours. So it's nighttime now.
Mm-hmm.
So nighttime, yay. Of course, the siege work is in chaos now. So you don't have immediate bombardment as you go into the night. Maybe they even break out a couple of the wine barrels that they've been saving. there's celebrations. We have Mordred, the Master of the Tower, in his fairly imposing black and red summoner master robes, joining the festivities. There's a bit of a celebration now because everyone's sort of recognizing that, okay, like we've got a new massively powerful ally here. And clearly Mordred was welcoming this individual into the city, so everyone's already fine, because Mordred is kind of like... Mordred's position is weird, because he leads the Tower of Wisdom. But the Tower of Wisdom is a part of the Covenant of the First Flame, which is headed by the Keeper of the Flame. And below the Keeper are the Cardinals. But he's kind of like a separate but equal thing, but clearly subordinate to the Keeper of the Flame. So he's kind of like number 2, maybe 3-ish in the city, and he's clearly okay with like welcoming Cameron to the city and propping him up. So the reception is great. There's new hope now in the city. Though clearly, Cameron, you think you're probably going to have to address this Covenant situation here, because it's one thing to talk to the footmen, and it's entirely another to look at the Vatican and say, yeah, you're nothing. Yeah, Cameron. Sorry, not Cameron. Ishmael.
I like to think whilst this is going on, like a series of planets coming into perfect alignment, I'm making full, along with my my fellow devotees of the Secret Flame, I'm making full use of my hospital-wise, pilgrim-wise, priest-wise, herbalism and faith.
Oh, Jesus.
Along with all my homies to minister to all of the sort of people who've been injured, and also on the down low, like sort of sell them on the virtues of the true flame.
So we've got a lot of, like, your celebrations are less so with the dancing and the whooping, and more with the triage, I guess. And yeah, it's in the dark hours of the night. It's like pitch black now, because most of the fires outside have gone out because you consumed them, King. Cameron, who wields the flame.
There we go. I'll lead everyone in a sort of celebratory, like, relighting of our fires in here. So as the Sun King was saying, we've cast away that old corrupt flame, and we're now rekindling the fires of hope to a new future. And there's much joy there to be had as well. Like, people still don't really understand that you guys are talking about an entirely different set of fire now, but it takes time. It's all one flame.
It's going to percolate, though. This is how new religions take over old religions, right?
It's all one flame. We're just bringing them together under the umbrella of the true flame.
Yeah, one love.
Hey, it's not as weird as the Romans switching to Christianity from paganism.
No, this is the, like, what you're doing now is the Interpretatio Romana, where you roll up into town and say, so show me your gods. Okay, that's clearly Mars, Jupiter. Okay, we can work with this. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. We're all on the same team, really, at the end. Hey, before we close out for the...
I had one more thing. This is the... Oh, one more thing. So in the dark of night, as you relight your fires, and there's much jubilation, we break out the wine barrels. There's a little bit of dancing. Even Mordred, the dread master of the tower, in his dark robes, sipping wine balefully in the corner, and he's really hammy because he came into being via the creepy claws.
I imagine he's wearing just like one metal gauntlet on that one hand.
Yeah, in the gauntlet hand, which he has the goblet on.
Yeah,
it's clearly just like yes, and it's the finger armor from like Hot Topic. So Mordred aside, the festivities are given a little bit of a jump when there's it's like a modern comparison, but it's kind of like a flare goes off, like a straight white light flare, but then like times building. It's like a giant magnesium fire burning in the sky for just like a second, and there's much confusing because everything turns into like everything's lit up for a second with strong white light, and it's clearly coming from above, and folks are glancing up and they see in sort of that sort of like when important stuff happens, time kind of slows down a little bit. The bright moon in the sky just breaks apart, and a sliver of it streaks down like a lance into the west from here. And there's a like people are like throwing themselves into shelter as something starts happening because they remember what happened the last time when this sort of thing happened.
Ironically, I was there.
Yeah, you were there. But yeah, this lance, like a part of the moon, this debris that is now shattering away from the moon, lances like a shriek of light across the sky, the very dark night sky, and goes down somewhere in the west. And it takes some seconds where like everything stands still, and then there's the aftershock of an earthquake of pretty big magnitude, and yeah, things start falling. Like the damaged buildings start wobbling. People are, stumbling down. And
Okay, so
for the first time in a very long time, Cameron hears a familiar voice in his head, and the voice says, "That would be the compact fulfilled. I have sensed you here. Welcome." And that's where we wrap it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Very much enjoyed it.
When he said he's going to fix it, that's not quite what I had in mind. I thought he'd fix the moon's like gone.
Yeah, it's breaking apart in the sky. It will continue to do so in the following hours.
I think on that bombshell, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you very much.
Yeah.